So the other day, I get a phone call from one of our subscribers who's been around since day dot. Yes, one of the 4,400 beautiful subscribers. And they are beautiful. But you know what? I'm not going to get a fucking boat harboured up in Monaco on 4,400, am I? Subscribe! Anyway, look, he gave me a ring and said, listen, Mrs. Naseem is on holiday. And when she comes back, if she sees any more helicopters in my house in London, I'm in a world of hurt. Can you help? And Naseem, I said to him, what can I do to help you, old chap? And he said, just take them off my hands. Maybe give them away to charity or some of your subscribers who are perhaps starting the hobby. Naseem, I said, that's good form and good charity. And here we are. So, what did he send? And does anyone want a helicopter? Welcome, you legends and heliheads, you choppers and stick bangers, you talented twizzle whizzlers, you beautiful subscribers, DCS pilots, and anyone else passing by. Welcome to this video on Helished. Now look, that was really not... Why did I do that? Just lie, just lie. You put your both hands in, your both hands out, in, out, shake it all about. Fucking Jesus, I need a holiday. Why did she have to go away this weekend? Do you think as you get older you regress and actually become younger? In which case, am I 9? Right, let's start again. Naseem sent this box to me, and a really nice thing of him to do, and I thank him very much for donating it to the channel. Look, there isn't a SAB There isn't a SAB IL Goblin in here or Tron 500. The equipment in here is based at the beginner who's at the very beginning of their journey. Beginning, clearly. Is based at someone who's at the very beginning of learning how to fly a radio control helicopter. And like I said, really charitable of him and very nice of him. I'm going to save you unboxing. I'm going to rip that apart and I'm going to chuck it on the bench. And then we'll see what it is that he has sent. We'll then determine what will be useful and meaningful, and we will give it away to any of you who would like it, details of which will be at the end of the video. Why did I do that? It seems a poignant time based upon Naseem's charity to this channel and using it as a conduit to pass it on to any of you, that we don't just be a middleman here. I'm not a middleman, old Helimong, nor is Helished. So we are going to match his kindness by donating to the London Air Ambulance. Naseem comes from London. Air Ambulance is a helicopter. Get it? Helished, Air Ambulance. So we're going to donate to them on his behalf as a signification of thanks for what he's doing here for the hobby. I'm not going to do a charity plug at all. I'm sure it's the same in most other countries. But look, we have air ambulances dotted around all over the country. There certainly aren't enough of them. A lot of counties have their own air ambulance and they save people's lives. Simple as that. The government fund them to real baseline level just so they can have a helicopter, sit on the pan and look at it. But it certainly doesn't cover their operating costs or anything else. And they rely a great deal on charitable donations. You know that if you live in the UK, and if you live in another country and got an air ambulance, I have no doubt it's the same for you too. Right, enough drivel bivel. Drivel bivel? Right, enough waffle from me. Let's get this stripped down and put on the bench. Hell's fire, legends, your eyes do not deceive you. There are indeed 3 helicopters of the same make with a transmitter that comes with it. There's also a fairly scruffy, I'm sure Naseem won't mind me saying, ALZRC Devil 380. We'll talk about that later, but let's address these 3 here, understand what we've got and how that may be of some use to you. Okay, this is the Walkira V450D03. They came out about 11 years ago, very popular in the Middle East and Asia, not so popular in Europe, the UK, the US and Canada. These come in 2 different flavours. They come in a bind and fly, which is ready to go. All you got to do is bind it to a transmitter. And the fly barless system on it is also the receiver. It has to be bound to the Divention transmitter system if you indeed want to fly it with the Divention fly barless controller. It also comes as a ready-to-fly set with the Dimension controller and a helicopter. And when it was released, it was about £450 as a ready-to-fly. From what I'm able to gather, Walkera no longer make the V450D03. In fact, they don't seem to make any helicopters anymore. Spare parts, whilst they're still available on things like eBay and some sites in Asia, spare parts are very, very, very cheap. A boom for this is less than £2, but you'll probably pay about 12 quid for it to come from China. The point is that spare parts for these helicopters are available and you can get them if you look around. But I think that's why, legends, Nassim pretty much bought 2 bind and flies and a ready to fly. In the event that he did have a crash, he's got parts readily available. And that is indeed a strategy for a lot of people that are starting in the radio control helicopter hobby, is to buy a relatively cheap helicopter, buy a couple of them, and then, you know, you've got spare parts without having to shop about. Let's take one of these out and take a closer look. In the top right hand corner, I'm going to put a video of Ali Shammal flying this about 11 years ago. It is a 3D helicopter, but it's also got beginner settings on here, which in Western terms is attitude control, which of course you can then turn off. That's absolutely perfect for a beginner. With attitude control, that means that all the time you hold the stick, the helicopter will move in that direction rather than continue to rotate on its axis. And will fly like a drone essentially. Flick a switch and it will do 3D. It is a very capable helicopter, a 450 size, 325 blades along here, 4 points for the canopy, which is plastic, but you know, very, very flexible. It's not going to crack just because you drop it on the floor. And the frame is made out of plastic, and you can see it's quite rounded. It looks like a logo to me. The drive is plastic as well. The swash is metal. The washout arms are metal as well. The blade grip holders are plastic, and the head is also metal. 325 blades, carbon fibre, as I said. These look good quality. It's got a 40 amp ESC, a 38,500 kV motor. And yeah, as I think hopefully you've been able to see so far with that video up there, a very capable 3D helicopter of, you know, just under medium size. In the real world, a 450 size, this is classed as a sort of micro helicopter. But, you know, if you're just starting out, it's a perfect helicopter to start out on. Nowadays, of course, we lean towards the Goose Sky S2, the OMP M2, and even the RS4, etc. But don't let an old dog fool you. This is an old girl, no question. Don't discount this helicopter as a good helicopter to start on. The Dimension transmitter that comes with it is a 7-channel. All of this equipment here I think has been a shelf queen, because I think I've got more dust on here than Nassim's got in his entire house. But it's all in very, very good condition. None of this has been crashed, etc. It also comes with manuals for the right settings, a couple of CDs, which, well, I haven't got a CD anymore, but you know what, manuals are freely available on the internet. Comes with some minor spare parts and some blade carriers. This is a ready-to-fly package. All you really need to do in order to be able to fly this is have all this cleaned up, bound to a transmitter, tested, set up properly, and put away in the box. And then one of these marked up as the master and the other 2 as the slaves. And by that I mean that you just would need to bind this to this one and bind this to this one in order to fly. But what needs to happen is one of these needs a good going over and set up with this transmitter and test flown. And I'm going to do that for you. Now, full disclaimer up front, legends, this is not a toy. This will hurt you. It will certainly put you in hospital. On a really bad day, it could kill you. Unlikely though. But look, yes, I'm going to set this up so that it can fly. And I'm going to make sure that it's safe, etc. But ultimately, you know, you can't hold me to account because you fly like an idiot and take half your head off. So, complete disclaimer right now. Whilst I'll set it up, it is down to you to read the manual and go through it yourself. Finally, on this package, I think in order that it's meaningful for someone out there, I think actually it should be sent as the 3 helicopters and the transmitter. At least then, whoever is lucky enough to get this has got the transmitter, can fly it, and if they have a problem, they've got 2 other helicopters there that they can then repair it with. If I was to split this down into individual packages, it's not really going to be much use to anyone out there unless you've got a devention transmitter, which I think is probably unlikely. So I think it's important that this goes as a meaningful package to someone out there, and more on how you can get hold of that at the very end of the video. Now, as you may have saw on the desk there, the other helicopter is this, the ALZRC Devil 380. Not really an ideal helicopter for a beginner to learn on. These things are monstrous and can really put the willies up you, so to speak. It's been a shelf queen for a while. This needs a good clean up. Now, the ALZRC is a favourite of mine. It's just a shame it hasn't kicked off in the UK and the US, and that was based upon bad marketing, I'm afraid, with ALZRC and where they started from. And I've had an ALZRC Fast Devil 505 that I turned into a 520, and you can see that video or that playlist up there. And I really enjoyed them. You know, there's no question about it. I really enjoyed that helicopter. That helicopter, I think, went to Andre in the end, who has got a little channel. In fact, I'm going to give him a plug, actually. There's his channel up there. Go take a look. He's on the beginning of the RC helicopter flying journey and doing fantastically well. Well done to Andre. But look, here's the thing. With this, I'm going to keep it. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to clean it up. I'm going to give it a tender loving care. I'm going to put some decent blades on it, and I'm going to fly it. Once I've flown it a couple of times, I'm going to pay the kindness forward and give this to one of my club members at the beginning of their journey, or indeed to someone on this channel. So for now, I'm going to keep hold of this. Now, how do you get hold of this package? Very simple, legends. All you've got to do is donate to the London Air Ambulance and send me a copy of your donation. You can enter for £1 or £5 or £100, whatever you think, whatever you've got. Whoever donates the most by the end of October 2024 wins these 3 Walkera V450D3 helicopters, the Devention transmitter, and all they got to do is pay for postage, because if I pay for postage, Mrs. Helished will beat me with a 700 size rotor blade. Yes, she will. This is a win-win all round. 1, you could win that package, and 2, the London Air Ambulance gets money. And you know what? Nassim can sleep sound at night knowing that he started a movement that generated some money for charity. And good for him too. Right, enough waffle from me. See you on the next video. Remember, it's all about the journey. And if you haven't started your RC helicopter journey yet, why not? Now's the perfect time. Take care. Bye-bye.